Hi modern fashion designers, welcome back to class. This is Modern Woman Apparel. I want to say a very big thank you to all my returning subscribers, and if this is your first time here, you're highly welcome. Please join us by hitting on the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so as to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you. So guys, in today's class we're going to be learning how to make a dartless skirt pattern, how to transfer it to fabric, how to turn it with lining, and how to use it for our skirt with fitted waistband. And guys, the beautiful thing about this dartless skirt pattern is that you can use it for everything that has to do with skirt pattern, be it a gown, skirt with waistband, whatever you're making that has a skirt in it, you can actually use this skirt pattern for it. And no matter the length of whatever you're making, this is the best pattern to use. I've been using this very pattern for a while now, and today I decided to share this pattern with you so that you can make that perfect skirt for your clients. So guys, without wasting much of your time, let's get right into the tutorial of the day. So right now what we're going to be doing is the drafting of the skirt pattern. For this class, you'll be needing your waist circumference, your waist to hip, the hip circumference, your waist to knee, and to the length of your skirt. So without wasting much of your time, let's get right into the tutorial of the day. Now, if you've been following me, notice this is the front part of my skirt pattern. If you've been following me, you should be used to this by now, and I always eliminate my dart before transferring my patterns to fabric by folding it this way. But in today's class, I'm going to show you how to draft a dartless skirt pattern without having to go through this elimination process. So guys, as you can see, I've gone ahead to rule all the horizontal lines. This is the waistline here, and I'll be using this edge here as the center front. So we are drafting the front panel first. So this from here to here is the hip line, 9 inches. So measure yours, whatever you have. Note you're working with your own measurement. So from this waistline here to this knee line is 23 inches. And what I have here, this is the skirt length here, 41, and this is 1.5 for the hemming allowance. So you know, on our normal skirt block, we usually start taking the measurement from the edge here. So for this, you can see the waist circumference divided by 4 plus the dart intake. But for this, you know, we are drafting a dartless skirt pattern. So what I'm going to do first of all is here, I'll come to this dart here, determine what I normally use for the dart. So for me, I normally make use of 0.75 on both sides. So if you're using 1/2 inch on both sides, it's okay. So but because I normally use 0.75 on both sides, what I'm going to do now is, before imputing this waist circumference here, I'm going to go in from this waist here by 0.75. Note if you normally use 1/2 inch on both sides, what you go in is by 1/2 inch. So because I use 0.75, I'll go in by 0.75 from here, and I'll connect it from this waistline to the hip line. After this, I can start taking all other measurements. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to impute the waist circumference. I'm working with waist of 28. I'll divide it by 4, and I'll have 7 inches. Now this 7 inches, I'll start from this very line here. From here, I'll impute the 7 inches. Now after this, I no longer need the dart. I no longer need any allowance for the dart. Once you have done this, you have automatically eliminated the dart for this both parts here. I hope you understand. So from here, all you need to do now is to add your seam allowance. So I'm using 2 inches for this seam allowance, so I'll just add my seam allowance. I'll come to the hip line, and after this part here, the front part is okay. After eliminating this dart here, the front part is okay. All you need to do is to start imputing your circumference all through. So I'll come to the hip. I'm working with hip of 39. I'll divide it by 4, and I'll have 9.75. So this is the 9.75. I'm using 2 inches for the seam allowance. I'll come to the knee here. This is a pencil skirt, so I'm removing 2 inches from what I have on the hip. So this 2 inches is not constant. It depends on how fitted or how pencil you want this new line, the down part, to be. You can do between 1 to 2 inches, but I normally use 2 inches. So I'm going to remove 2 inches from this 9.75 I have here. So by the time I remove 2 inches, I'll have 7.75. So this is my 7.75, and this is the 2 inches I'm using for the seam allowance. Now whatever I have on this knee line here, I also impute it on the skirt length. So this is 7.75 plus my 2 inches, the same thing I have there. I'll just extend it and I'll connect all these lines together. So guys, this is this for the front part. The next thing we are going to do is to come down here from this waistline here. We are going to come down by 1 inch. This helps the front skirt to relax very well, and you connect from here to this line here, to this initial waistline. You know, this part here is for the seam allowance, so you can either connect with a straight line or you use the slightly curved part of your ruler, so to this part here. Now because I know I'm still going to come down from the waistline here by 1 inch, what I normally do is to add that 1 inch back to the length of my skirt. Now I told you that the length of this skirt is 41. Now the actual length of this skirt is 40, but because I'm going to eliminate 1 inch from this waistline, I added the 1 inch to back to the. So whenever you remove 1 inch here, bear it in mind that you are still going to add it back to your skirt's length. In that way, you do not have to shorten your skirt length. Now if you're making the skirt for a gown, all you just need to is to add your ½ inch here for your joining allowance. So all you need is just to add your ½ inch for joining allowance, and this is it for the front part. We are going to cut this out and go over to the back part. So guys, this is it for the front. Let's go over to the back pattern. So guys, for the back, as you can see, this is the waist to hip, waist to knee line, waist to skirt length. Now note that the same skirt length you have at the front is still the same skirt length you have on this back panel, and this is the hemming allowance.
Note that for the front,
so the only thing we did is just to go in from the center here by half of our dart intake, our dart width. But for the back, please, you have to pay attention because this is where the whole work is. So what I'm going to do first of all is to tighten the waistline, and to tighten the waistline you can use 0.5, 0.75 and 1 inch. So recently I started using 1 inch and I can see that the fitting is just so nice. So I'll go in from the waistline here by 1 inch for the back tightening. Now I'll connect from there to this very part here, to the hip line. So from the 1 inch to the hip line. So on the knee line here, what I'm going to do is to go in from this center back line here by 1 inch. And on the skirt length here, and also on this hemming line here, I'm also going to go in by 1 inch. This is to give the back a very nice curve. So I'm going to connect from here to the knee and from the knee back to the hip. So you can see what I have. I went in here by 1 inch for the knee. I went in by 1 inch and also went in by 1 inch on the skirt length and also on the hemming allowance. So this makes this new line here our center back line. So we are no longer making use of this straight line here. I hope you understand. Now having done this, this is just for the back tightening. Now on this very waistline here, what we are going to do now is to bring in our dart. So remember the same thing I did for the front by going in from the waistline here by 0.75. Now on this waistline here of the back, I'm going to go in by 0.75. That is half of what I normally use for my dart. If your dart is 1 inch, that is ½ inch on both sides, you do ½ inch here. But if you are doing 1.5 inches, that is 0.75 on both sides. So as you can see here, this is the regular skirt block. Now what I normally use is 0.75 on both sides. So what I'm going to do is to take just one of the 0.75 and put it here. Now if you normally use ½ inch on both sides, you take just that ½ inch and place here, just like we did for the front. So this is my 0.75, and from there too I'll also connect it back to this hip line. Now to avoid these two lines here, all you need to do is to add your back tightening to your darts to get what you have here. Now to avoid these two lines, what I should have just done is to add the 1 inch here plus this, and from here I'll just go in by 0.75, but I just want to do this for better understanding. After this is all for this contouring. The next thing we are going to do is to impute all our horizontal measurements. So the waist I'm working with, the waist circumference is 28 divided by 4 is 7. This is my 2 inches for seam allowance. The hip is 39 divided by 4 is 9.75 plus my 2 inches. And here, remember for the front part, remember I removed 2 inches from what I have on this hip to get what I have on the knee. So I'm going to also do the same thing on this new line here. So what I have here is 9.75. By the time I remove 2 inches, I'll have 7.75. So this 7.75, I'm going to start from this new center back line, and I'll just, so this is my 7.75 here from this center back line, new one, and this is my 2 inches. So the same thing I have on the new, we go down to the hemming allowance. So remember, I'm taking the measurement from here. So 7.75 plus 2 inches. And this is just it. The next thing we are going to do is just to connect all the points together, and our back part is ready. So guys, this is it for the back. So the next thing we are going to do is just to add our zipper allowance. So the zipper allowance is starting from this very one here. So I'm using 1.5 inches. So this is my 1.5 inches here.
So go ahead and take your zipper allowance from the new center back lines, and after that you connect.
So guys, from here you can see from this last line here to this very part here is the zipper allowance, and also took the zipper allowance from this inner one to here. So this is our zipper allowance. Now this is all for the back part. All you need to do is to add your ½ inch on top here. If you are using this for a gown, you add your ½ inch on top for your joining allowance. And the next thing we are going to do is to cut this out. So guys, we've come to the end of this class. This is the front pattern here, and this is the back pattern. You can use this for your sketch, you can also use it for your gown. So if you want to see how to transfer these patterns to fabric, follow me to the part 2 of this class. So in the part 2 of this class, you learn how to transfer these patterns to fabric, especially this front part. As you can see, it's no longer straight, so there's a technique for it. For the back, you can just place it on your fabric and cut, but for the front, have a way of transferring to the fabric. Now you also learn how to use this to make a dartless skirt with waistband, and how to sew the complete skirt. The link to the part 2 of this tutorial is on the comment section. I'll see you there. Bye for now.